Okay, we're about to go on the Kilimanjaro Safaris. Where are y'all going? We have fast passes. We have fast passes. We're going this way, and we're walking. Fast pass.
I'm riding with you.
That's a hat right there.
Everybody needs welcome, so welcome aboard, everybody. Come on in. What you waiting for? So much time, so little time here. Check that.
I'm here at Animal Kingdom for the first time. I'm gonna do some fat guy ride testing. Alright, just for a frame of reference, earlier this week, my last weigh-in, I was 321 pounds, and I am 5'9", so if you want to compare yourself to me, you can just take a look at the picture and you know, see whether or not you can fit or you can't based on that. So, hope it helps. Let's go have some fun. I'm not going to spend more than a couple seconds on the Kilimanjaro Safari seats because there's really nothing to it. As you can see here, it's just a bench seat. There are no restraints, you just sit down and have a good time. There's not even a step up. The vehicle pulls up to the loading platform, and the seats and the floor in the vehicle are even with the loading platform, so you just walk right on without even a step up or step down. As long as you can fit through this little opening here to get into the seat, you can ride. There are no restrictions, so have a good time, and I hope it helps.
Let's go! Shalom folks, my name is Lee and I'll be your guide for the next 2 weeks as we take our photo safari through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now while you're taking those photos over the next 2 weeks, make sure you hold on nice and tight to those cameras and phones. We're going to be going over a lot of rough terrain, and if they fall out for any reason, we cannot go back together, so hold on tight. We're going to go ahead and get started right here in the Little Aturi Forest. Now the animals here in the forest do have a lot of natural camouflage, and that'll make them pretty tough to spot. So feel free to play along. If y'all spot anything, let me know. We are all on the same team here, guys.
What are we looking for? There's something.
Let's see. Oh, coming up here on the right-hand side, it looks like there are some bongos hanging out, the reddish copper-colored animals here. Bongos are often referred to as the ghosts of the forest because they're actually really, really tough to spot. But these guys are hanging out nice and close to the road. Also here to the right-hand side, you're going to see some lighter tan animals, and those are called greater kudu. You can tell that these are lady kudu because they don't have any horns. If you take a look up at your animal spotting guide, look to the far left or far right, you can see what one of the males looks like with their long spiraling horns. Very handsome looking fellas. In certain cultures around the world, but are actually just the exact same substance as our hair and fingernails. Alrighty guys, we're going to go and make our way out to the Safi River now, which as you might guess from the name, is a pretty good place to spot some water-dwelling creatures. Now the first pool we're going to come to can be really tough to spot in because of the way the glare comes off the rocks. But there is another pool up ahead on our left where I think we'll have some really good luck. So if you don't see anything right away, Hakuna Matata, no worries. Oh, take a look here to the left-hand side, guys. You'll see a whole bloat of hippos hanging out. That's what a group is called, a bloat. Up on top of these logs, you're also going to see a pod of pink-back pelicans, which get the name from the patch of pink they get on their back during mating season. It's how they let each other know that they are single and ready to mingle. There's another hippo there to our left. Do you see it hanging out there?
See your earring right there? I do. Okay, hands and legs together.
Over here to the left-hand side, you're going to see a whole bunch of Nile Crocodile. Now these Nile Crocodile will get as much as 16 to 20 feet long. Stay seated back there. It's about as long as a giraffe is tall. And they've actually been known to jump almost their entire body length out of the water. So we're not going to stick around for nothing a bit. I do want to recommend going home and looking up a video of those guys jumping up out of the water. They'll go from the tip of their nose to the tip of their tail, using that powerful tail to whip them out of the water like a really ugly mermaid.
Tortoise.
Now we're going to go and make our way out to the savannah. The savannah is a completely different ecosystem with different animals, but you'll probably recognize this area of the reserve. It tends to be the one that comes to mind when people think of Africa. It's got your wide open grasslands, the tall acacia trees. It's also going to be home to a lot of the more celebrity animals, things like your elephants and lions and giraffes. So be on the lookout for your favorites out here, guys. Now, while this area is called a savanna, that's a type of ecosystem. Just like we came from the forest, we're heading into the savanna. But this area more specifically and geographically is referred to as the Serengeti Grasslands. And they stretch for hundreds of miles across the continent of Africa. And they're used as a migratory superhighway for tons of different species every year. So be on the lookout for lots of really cool, really diverse wildlife out here, folks. Chances are you're going to get to see some really, really cool stuff. Now, the tall grass around us can be a pretty good place to spot some animals hanging out. A lot of times, mamas will stash their new babies in the tall grass to help shield them from predators. Some of those little babies won't even use the bathroom for the first several days or even several weeks of their life. That way they don't give away their position with the scent. But since we do have a little bit higher vantage point here on the truck, a lot of times we can spot things that would otherwise be hidden. So be on the lookout, guys. There's definitely a den here to our left-hand side. I can't quite tell if anybody is home yet. Let me know if you spot anything. Oh yeah, they're actually laying right there in that little cubby hole. There's a couple hyenas there, guys. Y'all see them? Now, contrary to popular belief, hyenas are not scavengers. They do hunt just like any other predator. They are, however, very opportunistic. You often find them stealing from a leopard or a cheetah. Those animals are very timid, not really willing to put up a fight with one of these hyenas, so running over and snatching their prey from them makes a pretty quick and easy meal. Up ahead, you are going to see some tall mounds, and these are actually termite mounds, and they'll get to be as hard as concrete. Y'all are probably wondering what they're made out of, and it's not the first thing you'll think of, but it's definitely number two. Termites really only have one opening. It's used both as an entrance and an exit. So you often hear these referred to as a mixture of saliva and dung, and that's because they come from the same place. Now, these huge horns you see here, Roulette, belong to some Ankole cattle, which are the only domesticated animals here on the reserve. But they're not used for meat or milk like most domesticated species. They're actually considered to be a symbol of wealth. And the farmers who raise them take a ton of pride in those guys. Despite being used as a symbol of wealth, their horns are not just for show either. They actually do serve a very real purpose. They're filled with a bunch of blood vessels, and their blood will pump into those horns where it can cool off and then circulate back down their bodies. So they stay nice and cool out here on the reserve. Then, of course, these gray animals you see hanging out are white bearded wildebeest. Wildebeest are one of those animals famous for migrating through the Serengeti Grasslands every year. If you've ever seen a nature documentary about Africa, you've probably seen at least one segment on their massive herds. They can travel in groups of well over 1 million. Herds of that magnitude truly have the power to shape entire landscapes with the millions of hooves pounding the dirt every single day. Just one of the many ways the animals out here work to shape their landscape, just as much as it works to shape them. Alrighty guys, let's see what else we can spot out here. You're going to want to keep an eye on the trees. Giraffes are surprisingly good at hiding in plain sight, especially at night, because out of the corner of your eye, their necks look like just another tree trunk. It's really easy to drive right on past and not even notice them standing there. I'd be lying if I said that they hadn't scared me several times, because they are so quiet and they blend in so well at night. Oh, here you go, guys. Take a look here to our left-hand side. There's a bunch of those giraffes hanging out. There's actually 2 babies there as well. Now, giraffes can be as much as 6 feet tall when they're born, so they get a pretty good little head start on being the tallest land animal in the world. The first thing that those little guys will discover is gravity, and that's because their mamas give birth standing up. So they've got quite a little tumble to welcome them into the world, but they'll bounce right back up and they'll actually be walking within about an hour and a half.
I don't know, but I'm glad that there's an international.
Up on top of the hill, you're going to see a couple of big trees, and these are called Pea Bomb Trees. You'll probably recognize them by their nickname, the Tree of Life, which they get because they store thousands of gallons of water within their trunks. Elephants have actually figured out that water's in there, and they'll come along and use their tusks to poke holes in the trunk, and then they'll drink the water out, kind of like their own little elephant water tower. I was on a trip down south to Botswana and I actually saw one of these Pea Bomb trees that had been struck by lightning, and what it did, it boiled all the water on the inside and literally blew it up and left it in a little puddle of mush on the ground. Take a look there to the left. There's actually a couple of elephants there, guys. I don't know if you can make them out. Maybe you kind of squint a little. The silhouette of an elephant at night can be either one of the most beautiful or one of the most dangerous things you'll ever see. It kind of depends on where in Africa you are. There is some truth to that old adage that an elephant never forgets, and so if you're in an area where poaching is really common, then the elephants know that, and they'll often be very aggressive towards humans. But if you're in an area like this reserve where poaching is all but eliminated, then the elephants will be very docile. They don't mind you coming up and taking a look at them. It's really crazy to see the complete difference in that elephant psychology. There's actually been a lot of research done on the way that elephants think, and there's some belief that they actually think we're kind of cute. Kind of like the way we look at puppies. Take a look over there to the left-hand side, guys. There's another elephant hanging out by that Pea Bomb tree there. It's just crazy how intelligent these guys are. They can recognize up to 50 other individual elephants, just like we can recognize other faces. Over here to the left-hand side, there is a flamboyance of flamingos. These are greater flamingo, which are the tallest of the flamingo species. They'll get as much as 5 feet tall. They're also the lightest colored pink. They get that color pink from the shrimp that they eat, which is also where they get their delightful smell. So one last look at that elephant there at night. This is one of those sights that you really just can't capture on camera how beautiful those elephants look at night. Alright, we're going to go ahead and head through the gate here now to the eastern portion of the reserve and see what we can spot over here. I have heard a lot of reports of big cat sightings here on the east side, so you're definitely going to want to be on the lookout for those. Alright, take a look here to the left-hand side, and there is a big mud pit there. That is a really good sign that there might be rhinos in the area. Rhinos love to roll in that mud. It's a great multi-purpose protectant for them. It helps shield them from the sun, which keeps them nice and cool, protects them from sunburn. It'll also prevent bug bites. They'll even rub it off on trees, and it actually works like an exfoliant to get all the yucky stuff off their skin. And just like with those elephants, with the giraffes, rhinos are surprisingly good at hiding in plain sight as well, because out of the corner of your eye, they just look like a rock. So be on the lookout for those guys. Don't trust any rocks around here. They might get up and take off running. Believe it or not, rhinos can run over 35 miles an hour, so definitely want to be on the lookout. Oh, look on the hill there to the left-hand side, just where the spotlight is. There are 2 cheetahs there, guys. Y'all see them? Over to our left. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals in the world. They can reach speeds of up to 60 miles an hour, and they are pretty quick on the gas, too. They'll get up to 60 in about 3 or 4 seconds, which is much faster than most cars. Really only takes them a few steps. Did you say rhino back there?
I don't see
We just found the cheetah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It's okay, honey. I don't see him either.
All right, we're going to head around the corner here now to a kopie. Kopie are large rock outcroppings found all over the savannah, and they're usually a pretty good place to find some predators lying around. Predators love to climb on top of these kopies and use them as a lookout post to help them spot what might be on the menu for the day. Pretty cool looking sky out there as well. look at that, guys. There is a couple of lions hanging out. Looks like a male and 2 females over here to our left.
You see the lions? You see them? This is the appropriate time to say that.
They got their eyes on something over there. Lions are just like us. They're very, very curious. They do like to animal watch, so sometimes we'll find them staring at the other animals, not just because they're hunting, but because they just find them interesting to watch. I'll be honest with you guys, it's pretty much what lions do. They typically sleep about 16 to 20 hours out of every single day. The nighttime is when they're most active, though. Their night vision's about 6 times better than ours. And they've got a really good sense of smell, so they like to save their energy for this nighttime period when they have those added advantages over their prey.
Someone's whistling at the lions.
They're not going to respond to your calls, guys.
Kitty, 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 kitty.
Bad daddy. You don't listen. They only get 8 hours a day.
Do y'all name the animals?
Somebody does. You can ask me about that at the end. I'll tell you all about it, alright? Alright, coming up here on the left, I do see a couple burrows. Let's see. I don't see anybody running around right now. They might be all hunkered down for the night. I see a Bontebok. Oh, take a look here to the right-hand side, guys. You see these water buck here, very easily identified by that big white ring on their bum. Kind of looks like they sat on a freshly painted toilet seat. And then this brown animal here, that is a Bontebok. There's another one just around the corner here. And believe it or not, these 2 little Bontebok are my favorite animal here on the reserve. They're kind of notorious for their poor athletic ability, which is something I really relate to. Believe it or not, though, it's actually because of their poor athletic ability that we're able to see them here today. At one point in time, there was only 17 Bontebok left in the entire world. You could have counted every single one using just your fingers and your toes. Fortunately, a farmer here in Africa realized the numbers are pretty quickly dwindling, and so he went out and built a fence around that last group of 17. Had they been pretty much any other species of antelope, they would have just jumped right out of that fence and gone about their merry way, never to be seen again. But they're not. They're Bontebok, and Bontebok are actually really bad at jumping. So because of that, they weren't able to escape. That farmer was able to focus on breeding those guys, and because of his work, their numbers are now considered stable and continue to rise every single day. There's now entire reserves dedicated just to those little Bontebok, and they're no longer considered in threat of total extinction, which is pretty amazing, guys. It really just goes to show the power that one person can have to truly make a difference in the lives of the animals here in Africa. Now, if you want to be a part of making that difference, there's a lot of stuff that you can do even from home. You can start by recycling any old electronic devices you might have lying around. Those are manufactured using a mineral called coltan that's mined here in Africa. You can also help by volunteering or donating to a local wildlife center to support the local wildlife in your area. You can even start right in your own backyard by building a habitat for migratory species. Now, I'm guessing most of y'all don't have wildebeest running through your backyard, but you probably do have things like migratory birds. And building a nice bird house or a bird bath will make a resting place for those animals on their long journeys every year. Now, this little body of water out here is known as the Finale Waters because unfortunately they do mark the end of our safari adventure. I know those 2 weeks went by so fast they felt like 20 minutes and it was dark the whole time. But that's okay, guys. There's still plenty more to see and do back at home. I want to invite you to continue your educational journey by visiting the website DisneyAnimals.com to learn more about the animals here. I also want to invite you to make a contribution to the Disney Conservation Fund. That fund goes to support wildlife conservation efforts all around the world for many of your favorite animals, including many of the ones that you got to see out here today.